what he was really upset about was, he says, we keep getting fact-checked, and people say that I'm saying that we're creating mutants, or that we're making mutations or mutants. He says, we're not. We're selecting the mutants that already exist. As he points out, we have variants all over right now, but there's just a tiny amount of them. They're not winning the battle in nature. They're losing to the more dominant strain, which was alpha. Now it's delta. Delta, much more infectious. What he's concerned about is a much more infectious and much more deadly variant that's out there. They're already out there, but they're in the minority. The problem is the vaccinated are going to select and create more and more of that minority and make it grow to become the majority, and then that can wipe out our species, okay? So let me make this perfectly clear. This is an unvaccinated person. This is a vaccinated person. Now, I ran out of blue, but just go ahead and assume the green are the same as the blue, all right? We got blue and red, green and red, same thing, all right? The majority, you know, what he said is a 5-to-1 ratio. So you have a little bit of the deadly, let's say the deadly virus, and much more of the non-deadly virus. Well, they're both getting hit with that same amount, right? Same thing over here. They both got hit the same way. Majority of the less effective, and a little bit minority of the more infection and perhaps deadly strain. But what happens is this vaccinated person only fights this. Only fights what the vaccine told him to fight, so he doesn't. Now, when you're fighting it, remember you're fighting it, you're going through that period where you're trying to develop immunity. Well, you're reducing it down, but you're still shedding at about 10% is what he's saying. So you're shedding about 10% of the viral load that's inside of you. Only the vaccinated is not shedding any of the more mild variant or the more mild original strain. They're not shedding this because this is the only thing that their body killed. That vaccine taught them to kill the spike protein. So when they're shedding the 10%, all 10% is the more deadly strain, whereas the unvaccinated isn't selective, doesn't care whether it's the deadly, the more deadly or the less deadly, and it also knows that it came in at a 5-to-1 ratio, so in that same ratio, it's going to drop down to 10%, 5-to-1, meaning if you went with 100 particles, you're left with, 8 particles of the more mild, more friendly strain, and 2 particles of the deadly strain that you are, basically shedding. So this is what makes the unvaccinated person a filter that is filtering it down and making sure that the deadly strain remains a minority, does not become the majority like this one. Now imagine if we have a world where more and more of these people are standing around us. Then we have a problem. Then we're outnumbered. And now, slowly but surely, this is what happens to the world. Do we have a map? Did we get that graph? There we go. There's the deadly strain.